A good inspector will give you peace of mind and detailed and thorough information. A bad one will blow up your deal faster than a one-night stand. Today we're talking with Hans Coleman, 5281, a step above inspections. Thanks, Hans. Thanks for being here.
Oh, my pleasure. Love being here.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. This is fun. I like doing these.
All right. So the first question, we got fact or fiction. Fact or fiction? A home inspector can make or break a deal.
Fiction. I am going to go with fiction on this one.
That's funny because I was expecting fact.
I understand that you would be expecting that. However, it's not up to us to determine the condition of the home. We can't sit here and be just like, "Ooh, you have mold," and we can't tell people that. We have to tell people what's wrong with the home, how it's going, how it's running, that kind of stuff. And we're liable for that part of it. But as of the house having its issues, that's the house's fault.
I know, but I think that you have to think of it in terms of not just your inspections, but home inspectors in general. Because I have definitely had experiences with other home inspectors that, like, the way that they communicate things
Yeah.
can scare off buyers and it can kill deals.
Yeah, and that's fair. I mean, if we use what I would call like atomic language, there are a few words that we probably shouldn't be saying that would really just like make somebody panic. We don't want somebody to panic. We don't want, oh my gosh, the house is falling down. We're not going to I am not going to sit there and say, hey, you have about 4 weeks left before this house falls down. No, you don't say those kinds of things. However, it is still up to the houses, the foundation, the electrical, all that kind of stuff. The condition of it is that really determines if the deal is going to continue on versus not continue on. But you're not wrong with saying that we need to watch what we say and how we say it, because that is quite a big deal on if the buyer moves forward.
Yeah, because some buyers, especially first-time home buyers, they don't know. They don't have any idea what they're getting into, especially if they're not handy, right? Like whatever you find that's wrong with the house, because there's something, at least one thing, probably a bunch of things wrong with every house, no
Yeah.
matter what.
New builds. Oh my gosh.
New build new builds are even worse.
Yes, pretty much.
It's very counterintuitive. But yeah, the buyers, it's easy for buyers to really get scared if you start talking about, if you're using industry jargon, right? Or, saying things that they don't quite understand.
Yeah.
I think,
Yeah, absolutely. If you say things like this jack stud is not where it's supposed to be and this king stud is supposed to be here, but it's not here, no one's going to know that. No one's going to know what that means. Just say, hey, the window frame is off. Keep it simple for people. You don't have to be like jack studs, king studs, all these other studs and all, come on.
I like studs.
I totally get it. I understand. I almost enjoyed them once too. All right, moving on. Yeah.
So I do think that they can make or break a deal, but it's not about the actual job. It's about the way they communicate, because
Totally.
it is the job to lay out anything you see that could be a problem, is a problem, that type of thing, right?
Yeah, so in terms of can you make or break deal, fact or fiction, I would say both. I mean, it really is. It's a very fine line that we walk on what we should be saying and what we shouldn't be saying, what creates panic, what doesn't create panic, what is absolutely wrong with the home, and delivering it in a nice, professional way so people aren't like and run out the door.
Yeah.
When we're sitting there and our heads going, no, you really need to run out the door. But we can't determine that when we shouldn't be determining that for people.
Yeah, that's not your decision.
That's not my decision on what. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Maybe they are really handy and they can do all this stuff. Maybe they have the financial means and the resources to get everything fixed. Maybe. Who knows? Maybe they're just going to take and knock down the entire building and start a townhome complex or something like that.
You don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's not for me to determine.
I have a great example for this, I think. Like, There was one we were in not too long ago, and you were talking about a water hammer. And it sounds like when you turn on the water and you hear a water hammer, it's like this huge boom, boom, boom,
Yeah.
right? And so then at the end of the inspection, we talked to you and you're like, well, there's a water hammer. And the first time I heard that, I was like, oh, I don't know how big of a plumbing problem this is. Like, like, are we going to need to get the plumber out here? And it was great. You saved it because you have a lot of really great experience, that again, you want somebody experienced inspecting the home. But you were able to say, look, it sounds really bad, but the reality is that you need a new part from Home Depot that's like $5.
Yeah.
And as soon as you said that, I was like, oh, no biggie.
So,
Like, this is not a big deal.
but also keep in mind that, as a home inspector, we shouldn't be diagnosing the issues as well.
Mhm.
We are required to say, hey, you need to get a plumber for a reason.
Mhm.
So, like, say I did say it's a plumbing part for like $5. So let's just say I said it's a plumbing part for $5. Just go to Home Depot and get it. And then they added it, and that didn't get rid of the problem. It turns out that the plumbing on the inside of the wall was not attached correctly, and they have to remove all of their showers, their whole plumbing system from that section because I said it was $5 part. So there's that line that we try and not cross as well with diagnosing. We're just there to tell you what's wrong with the house, um,
And
and
then
leave it at that. Yeah.
yeah, because you tell us everything that's wrong, everything that's working, everything that's not. And then it's up to, the buyer's agent and the buyer to go from there to
Yeah.
determine, do we need to have other professionals in, like the plumber, HVAC, electrician, roofer, all those people. Um, what is the buyer's risk tolerance for work that needs to be done? Are they handy? Is it no
Right.
big deal to bring in a plumber? So those are all the conversations that we're having after we get the report.
Yeah, and then can you use a handyman instead of just a plumber? Is it something that relatively every Joe Schmo should be able to fix or can fix? A plumber's gonna charge you $125 just to walk on the property.
Mhm.
Handyman is just gonna be like, okay, it's $75 to do this.
Well, and another thing that can be helpful is indicating like how urgent the issue is. Like, this is something that, you guys would want to get done like as soon as you move in versus this is something that, yeah, it's not great, but like you could deal with it next year or
Absolutely.
you could never deal with it. And that's
Yeah.
another, additional information that inspectors can provide that help guide that
Right.
conversation afterwards. So I know that we're going to do a whole topic on how to choose a good inspector. But as long as we're here talking about, how inspectors can make or break a deal, maybe you could just throw out a few suggestions for, what to look for when you're choosing an inspector.
Um, Simple things like go to their Google reviews. I would go with the people that I belong to, which is Internachi. You go onto their main website, and then you can type in your zip code where your inspection is, and it'll bring up a whole list of inspectors. And I would personally say never go with the top inspectors, like those top 4 or 5. Always go with the smaller ones, but not the low guys.
Mhm.
Not the page 23ers. Go with maybe page 2 people. Their prices will probably be a little bit more reasonable, and they have the experience, and they've been doing it long enough to really know what they're talking about.
Well, tell us what you said, Internachi, and nobody's going to know what that is.
Yeah.
I mean, I happen to know what it is because.
National Association of Certified Home Inspectors. And there's also ASHI as well, which is ASHI, American Society of Home Inspectors, I think is what
Oh, so you
their
guys have a
is.
couple of different.
Those are the 2 big ones. The
Okay.
Internachi is by far the biggest one, and they're good guys, we'll say. ASHI is Walmart.
Is the Walmart of
Yeah,
it?
it's the Walmart of inspectors.
Okay. And Google reviews too, I
Yeah,
think.
definitely. Google reviews are great as well. And then, and I hate to say it, but believe it or not, agents are really good with being like, hey, you know what? This
Ask
guy
your
doesn't really,
realtor.
yeah,
Yeah.
ask your realtor. this guy's really good with doing this. I know you guys can't show favoritism, and we obviously don't want you to either. Um, kind of, but uh, no, I mean, you guys actually do have a lot of huge influence. Like, if I'm not on your list of 3 or 5 or how many inspectors you guys give out, then obviously I'm not going to get that business at all. So you guys make a big difference in our worlds as well.
I think you're right. I think most buyers are going with the inspector that their realtor recommends. Although I have heard I have heard consumers say that they would never do that again because they felt like the agent and the inspector were in cahoots to get the deal done, and that's not cool.
There was
I'm
one.
sorry they felt that way.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. There was one guy that actually left me a Google review saying that if you want, said something like, if you want to make sure that your house gets sold and the agent is using him, go with this guy because he is great with making sure that he sells you the house even better. I'm like, I don't care about your guys' commission. I really don't give a shit about your commission
Yeah, no,
in any way, shape, or form. I'm just here to tell you, if I like something and I was like, hey, that's a really cool desk there, then I'm going to say, hey, that's a really cool desk there. I'm not going to be just like, no, I don't even know what I was to say, but still, it's just, anyway, it was completely unfounded. And I'm sitting there going, I don't even remember doing that. But yeah, you're right. People out there just think that sometimes we're just in cahoots with you guys. And for me, I don't care. I don't care about your commission. I really don't. I know, I'm sorry. But I just don't. Yeah, your paycheck is not my paycheck. We'll go with that. How about that?
yeah, well, and I know you care about doing your job to the best of your ability. And that's important when you're hiring people, is hiring people that care about their job, about doing a good job. So let's talk about the report a little bit that you give to buyers. And that's your work product, right?
Yep.
And I know so when we're at a home with buyers, you go through, you do the whole inspection, and you're preparing the report while you're doing it. But before you actually finalize the report, you will walk through with the buyers and talk with them about what you found. Um, and one of the things I love about Hans is that he's not only talking about what you found, that are issues, like any major issues, but we always show them where their main water shutoff is. Yep. And where and how to change their furnace filter, which I think is great.
Yeah, and where your electrical panel is,
Mhm.
in Colorado, ours are on the outside of the house, and people that kind of stuns people. Why is it on the outside of the house, kind of a deal. So yeah, it's always a good thing to get those guys that information, the basics.
Yeah, the basics. Well, and I remember you showing us all how to use a whole house fan one day.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think the thing here is that even before you get the report out, doing a walkthrough with the buyer and showing them, any major issues that you may have found, as well as kind of a get to know your home kind of thing,
Mhm.
like that is super helpful in making the deal. Um,
It's one of my favorite parts of doing the inspections is actually show people, especially when they light up.
So what kinds of things if buyers were to ask for a sample report from an inspector, like what are kind of the key pieces of the report that we should be looking for?
So as an inspector, I look and read every single page. Nobody really does that. They always usually typically go down to the summary pages,
Mhm.
which are the last, like 5 or 6 pages of the inspection report, because everybody, unfortunately, an inspection is focusing on the negatives. What's wrong with the house? Why isn't it doing this? What's it doing this? How's it going? Like, so everybody focuses on the negatives, where the inspection report is primarily positives. You have a 57-page inspection report. It's what, 50 pages of good, 7 pages of bad? But stay away from the end and read the whole thing. Look at the pictures, look at how many amperages your electrical panel is, that kind of stuff. Pay attention to what's going on the inspection report, not just focus on the negatives.
Oh, I love that. I like that. Yeah, read through the whole report, not just the major issues, because that's what I do. I skip down to the major issues because my next thing is the inspection
Right.
objection.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, and I get that. I understand that is very. That's what we're there to do, though. People want to know what's wrong with the house, not what's great with the house. What's wrong with the house?
Yeah, and helping to decipher between the big ticket items, major problems versus, you know, nail pops or missing a GFCI outlet
Right.
or, there's just
This is the minor stuff. Yeah, that's
little
just the minor stuff.
minor stuff.
Stays away from the five big things. Yeah.
So one of the things that we're doing, based on the inspector's recommendations and the information that we get in the report, is deciding whether or not we need to bring any other people, other professionals out to look at the house and give us additional information. So these are things like the roof, HVAC, electrical, plumbing. So all of those trades. Now, a general home inspector is a general inspector. He's looking at everything. This man cannot and does not know every code
Darn.
for every trade. So people need to be aware of that. And this is what I tell the buyers is that we're relying on you as the first line of defense, sort of, to tell us, do we need to talk to more people or not?
Right.
And that's part of the reason we have you come in as soon as we go under contract. I'm trying to get you in there right away because we want to have time in our inspection period left over if we need to be bringing out other people, the plumber or the roofer, the
Yeah,
electrician.
because you guys only have like what 10 days
It just
till that
depends on how
contract.
we
Yeah.
write the contract. Yeah, it just depends. But yeah, all the contracts for the most part have this inspection period. And sometimes buyers can do as many inspections as they want during that period. We start with the general and then we go from there, adding on what makes sense. Because we don't need to have a plumber, an electrician, and an HVAC and a roofer and all these people. They don't need to come out for every house.
Yeah.
But
That would be expensive too.
yeah, that would be kind of ridiculous. So thank you because you're a big part of helping direct, what comes next.
Absolutely, yeah. I enjoy this job. It's so much fun.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think we've come to the end of our little discussion over how and whether or not the debate over whether or not inspectors can make or break your real estate deal. So thanks so much for being on today, Hans.
My pleasure. Sorry to help.
So if you have any home inspection needs, whether you're a seller getting ready to sell and you want to do a pre-inspection before listing, or if you're a buyer and you want an amazing home inspector for your deal, highly recommend reaching out to Hans Coleman, 5281, A Step Above Inspections. If you like this content and want to support the channel, don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, and alert bells before you go.